It's Dr. Sam, and I'm taking a hike today in the high country, and it's just magnificent up here. The aspens are changing, and it's just really a fabulous day. So I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you about dry eye syndrome. It's a growing problem, especially with digital device users, women in menopause, and even the elders. So it's really an easy mechanism. What happens is the eyes dry out because they're not producing enough tears. The cornea doesn't get tear coverage, and there are tiny nerve endings on the cornea, which creates pain and inflammation. And there's this ongoing cycle of pain, inflammation, because of the dryness. Now, Allergan came up with an eye drop called Restasis, which actually helps reduce some of the immune response, and that actually lowers the inflammation in the eye. Now, one of the problems with that treatment is that it does cause some side effects like redness and irritation, but it can work. Now, in my world, of course, I'm using a very different philosophy. What I say is that whatever's happening in the eyes is also happening in the body. So, for example, if you have any kind of inflammatory response in the body, it's going to affect the eye tissue in some way. And one of the things that you want to pay attention to is how well you're absorbing your foods, and maybe to increase your probiotics. I also would take a look at your endocrine function and how balanced the thyroid and the adrenals are. If these are off, this could cause dry eye syndrome. I would also say that you want to take a look at, in terms of your eyes, how you're using them together, how they focus, what kind of contacts or glasses you're using in terms of the computer. A lot of times people are wearing prescriptions that are wrong. They're much too strong for them, and that creates a lot of visual stress, which can also dry your eyes out. So in terms of eye drops that I like to use homeopathic eye drops because they treat the causative factors and not just the symptoms. I also use MSM eye drops. These are oxygenating and hydrating eye drops that are also anti-inflammatory without suppressing the immune system. So there's lots of things that you can do to treat dry eye if you look at it more from a holistic point of view. Case in point, I had a lady come and see me a few months ago. She was diagnosed with a condition called Sjögren's disease. And this is basically an autoimmune disease. And so she was having a lot of imbalances, not only in her eyes, but throughout her whole body. She was in a lot of pain. Most of her mucous membranes were drying out. And of course, she was suffering severe dry eye, and she had tried the more conventional approaches, and they didn't work for her. So I put her on a lot of really good probiotics and enzymes, and we also did some things to balance her endocrine system. And I also recommended that she use homeopathic eye drops, MSM eye drops. And I just got an email from her last week, and her dry eye is about 80% gone. And also, she's been able to reduce her prescription by 20%. That was an added perk that, I had no idea that would happen. But obviously, the visual stress is reduced, so she doesn't need as much prescription in her eyes as well. Well, I hope this information's been helpful. Pass it on if you know anybody with dry eye that's not getting help. And now it's time for me to get back on the trail. Okay, we'll see ya.